Welcome to the Lovers Lounge podcast, where we talk to experts and other guests on topics related to love, relationships, and sex. I'm your host, Tina Love, and on this episode, we have Dr. Goody Howard, and she is good. She's a sexologist, educator, and consultant who hosts sex positive intimacy and empowerment workshops. She's also a pleasure professional that sells sexual accessories. Goody layers her focus on pleasure and education with her energetic and engaging presentation style. Her motto is be good or be good at it. Goody girl, welcome to the Lovers Lounge, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Girl, look, I done gave you a whole new jingle. I'm going to say it right now. This is the jingle right here. This is it. Goody girl, you good. That's
Yes.
all right. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oh my gosh. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And I know a lot of times you do shows where people can see you. But on this episode, like we're in the Lovers Lounge, we kick back, we chilling, right? People
Right.
can't see us. But we're gonna be so descriptive that they're gonna be able to kind of put it in their minds. It's gonna be like they're here with us and they can see,
Yes.
right? So that's what we're gonna do.
Yes.
All right, all right. So I did a lot of research on you, child, and I just want to let you know. Now I'm proud of your husband because your husband seems to be pretty proud of you and the work that you do. And not to mention, he's a business partner. So tell me a little bit about him and you and how'd you guys get together? Like, were you doing this business when you met him, or did you start after your marriage? Tell us.
well, I've been doing this for 15 years. So yes, I was doing this when he met me.
Okay.
And it was interesting because I did not know I didn't know how he was going to fit.
Yeah.
I think that dating is getting to know how and if someone fits into your life and lifestyle. Um and so I was dating other people when we met and everything, and I was like, "Look, I'm seeing other people, but I like you, but we're not exclusive till we have that conversation, right?" So
Right.
he's
Wow.
like, "Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this." And this being he and I, and he
Uh-huh.
was actually the only one that was only worried about he and I. Everybody else was worried about whatever else somebody else is doing, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where you going, or what they got you for all of this. And so he very much fit into my life and lifestyle almost. I would say immediately. We
Mm-hmm.
met on Twitter, which is weird, but
Wow. Wow.
yeah, like we met on Twitter in like 2009, 2010. Like we were Twitter friends for a long time,
Uh-huh.
and then we met up at like a local meetup everybody was going to in like June of 2011. I don't even know what day it is, what day it was on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we haven't been separate ever since. Like he walked me back to my car, and we talked till the sun came up, and we've been, in each other's lives ever since.
Oh. Now listen, this is the thing. This is I have to ask. So you know how people when you're dating, you talk, whatever, they're like, okay, so what you do? What do you
Uh
do?
huh.
What do you do? What do you do? And then you told him what you do. So
Uh huh.
was he intimidated a little bit? Like, was he uncomfortable? Did he like take a step back? I mean,
No.
what was the response, child? What happened?
Well, he was very good about it.
Okay.
So when I met him, I was doing this part time because I used to be an accountant during the day. So I used to lead with that. I didn't tell people that about the pleasure stuff, because then the people make assumptions about
Right.
your availability and how accessible they are to you, all kinds of things, honey. So when I told him, he was like, "Okay, word. So what does that look like? What does that mean?" And
Right.
so I told him, I teach these classes. I sell these products. And he was like, "Okay." So he was the one that actually decided that I need to do like some online stuff. And when
Wow.
Instagram started, he was like, "Oh, you got to do this on your Instagram, and you need to do that." And
Oh, that
he
is so
passes out my
nice.
cards more than I do. Like I
Wow.
remember when we were dating, he used to work for this airline, and he took the day off to come and sell toys with me. I was doing a ball. It's like the ball is like Pose, so it was like a whole convention. It was a ball convention,
Mhm.
and I was selling sex toys at the ball convention.
Mhm.
And he took off work and came to help me sell sex toys to all these gay men. And honey, and he was not intimidated by, like he was not tripping about them. he is not one of those straight men that is offended or gets in his feelings. He's very much a lover of people.
Yeah.
And they were talking to him, and they was trying to hit on him. He was not studying them. But he was like, they were like, oh, you who you here with? They're like, oh, I'm here with Goody. Oh, well, since you with her, we gonna let you make it. But if you ever get tired of her, you come holler at us, like
Right,
stuff
right.
like that. But we've been to one time. It was a date, our first actual date. I was selling sex toys at a Halloween sex party.
Wow.
And that was like one of our first dates. And he came and just helped me set up. And like, he has always been supportive of what I do.
Yeah. So much so that he has a shirt, right? He has this shirt that says something
Oh,
like,
yeah.
my wife sold this. Like, girl, tell me about that shirt. Tell me about it.
He has a shirt that says, my wife taught your girl that thing you like. And it
Yes.
says hashtag you're welcome. And
On
so,
the
and it has the
back. Yeah.
website on the back. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I
Oh,
was just
yeah. He
like,
does it all.
that is so good. I mean, and that's a man who is just very secure. He's secure in
Oh, yeah.
himself. And he's
Yeah.
secure about who he has and who he is to you. And so he's not intimidated. And so that's just awesome. I think it's just
Yeah.
awesome.
He's my favorite. Like, he is my favorite human being on the planet. He is my person.
Right. Right.
And like I said, he passes out my cards more than I do. He even comes up with some of the shirt ideas. Like, I have like T-shirts that I sell on the website, and for my partner on Top Class, it's called Rightology. It's a dick
Mm-hmm.
ride class.
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna
called
talk about it.
Rightology,
Yeah, yeah.
and he came up with it's the shirt that says "Get on his dick, not on his nerves."
Oh my
And
goodness.
and it's actually a shirt on the site now because he had one made and made one for me, and we were just wearing them, and people were like, "Oh, where can I buy that?" And I was like, "What?" So now I wear it when I do my dick riding class, so
Right.
people can just go in and purchase.
Oh wow. Wow. Amazing. That is so so neat cuz I've seen you with your t-shirt that says my husband is dope and I was like,
Hmm.
"Yes, he is" cuz I'm listening to you in your interview and I'm just like, "Yes, he sounds like a really dope guy." So that's cool.
He
That's
is.
really cool.
He
Yeah.
is.
So you
I
have
needed a
kids.
grown up though. He's like 10 years older than me. I needed a grown up.
Wow. Well, that's really good. That's awesome. And that's awesome. And a businessman and very forward thinking. So
Hmm.
that's cool. And you have kids. So you guys you had kids before each other, is that right?
Hmm.
So how did
Hmm.
that work out? Like, do you have one together? You had one before? How's that
Well,
all?
I have, so total we have 4 kids. We are a family of 6.
Mm-hmm.
So my bonus babies, well, they're not babies, they're grown ups, honey.
Right.
my stepdaughter's 24, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have a stepson that's 22, and then I have a son from a previous marriage, and he is 16, almost 17,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a 5-year-old together.
Yeah. That's neat. That is really, really neat. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that she is the boss of them. She don't run me, but she runs everyone else. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Like, we are very much a blended family. My stepdaughter's 24. She lives with us. My stepson lives with his mom across town, and she and I get along really well.
That's
And
good.
it's
That's really
just
good.
it really is. I feel like what black love should look like,
That's
what black
awesome.
family should look like.
Yeah. Yeah, we need more of that. We need more of that. All this, fighting and going on and,
Yeah, no.
insecurity stuff and, he
Mm-mm.
can't see
Now
you.
I can't say she started out not wanting to be on board,
Okay. Okay.
and I was just like, our children are watching us, and I don't want you to be on the wrong side of history.
Right. Come on now. We
You
got
know
to
what I'm
go.
saying? Our kids are related. Like, they're watching us. We are the example of how to handle a situation like this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Being a blended family. So we're like, oh, she got on board real quick. Like, I literally have her medical power of attorney. Like, she is
That's
on
good.
board.
That's good. All right. All right. Great. So I mentioned a little bit about you in the beginning of the show, but I want you to break
Hmm.
it down and share a little bit more with the audience regarding, exactly what you do. And yes, we are going to get into the rightology and the lick and the lip service and all of that. So you're going to mention that. But yeah, talk about what you do overall. Yeah.
Okay, so in general, I am a pleasure centered adult sex educator.
Mm-hmm.
So I do all the fun stuff, the toys, the workshops, all of that. And then I also do professional development for educators, counselors, and therapists, healthcare providers around sexual access, equity, etc. So I am full service. I do think that shifting to a sex positive culture in, includes involving the helping professionals on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm all about moving a sex positive culture forward.
That's good. And I mean, I just want to let listeners know now, it's going to get heated up in here. Okay. So this Lovers Lounge, this one today, right now, like we're going to have some heat going on up in here. But
Yeah.
just calm down, guys. Get something, get a cool drink, or something, a fan, and fan yourself because it's going to get pretty hot. Don't get squeamish and, embarrassed or nothing because, the Lover's Lounge, this is a safe place. This is a safe place.
Yes,
But I want people to be prepared because Goody, she's heavy. She's
ma'am.
heavy, but she's good. Okay. And, she's going to talk about some deep stuff. So I want everybody to be ready. And I want to talk about your credentials before we get into it because, it's going to sound, kind of, but you have a dual master's right now where you were working on a dual master's. Are you finished?
I finished. It was two separate master's degrees,
Yeah.
two
Yep.
completely independent ones.
So talk your
Um,
credentials. Give it to us, girl.
so I have a bachelor's of business management and development.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished a master's of social work in 2019. A master of social work with a focus on urban population.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just finished, and I am the first human being to ever receive a master's degree in public health from the University of Texas at Arlington.
Yeah.
The first and only graduate class of 2020, public health with
Wow.
a focus on, so that's urban populations.
Right.
The social work was community administrative practice.
Right.
So all of the things around public health, sexual health is public health, sexual education is social work. And so I felt the need to get the concrete degrees that people can not only that people can understand and grasp, but I think it adds to the respectability politics when I come into spaces talking about what I talk about. I think it makes people more comfortable.
That's right. That's right. And that's why I'm covering it right now, Goody, because I want people to understand like this Goody is educated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this
She's
is
just,
not a game.
this is not a game. I mean, she is just not throwing this stuff out here. This girl, I have watched her, I have researched her. And girl, I have, because I research all of my guests. And I just sit there in awe looking at you with all of the information that you have. You're so smart. It's
Thank
awesome. I
you.
love it. I love it. I love it. So I want you just to spread this information here. Also, you were going to get certified in sex positive and Christianity. Did you
Yes,
get through that? Okay, great.
I did. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
all right. So I want to go there because, uh, a lot of times people are just really embarrassed sometimes over these topics, and that
Hmm.
embarrassment and shame comes from somewhere. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, from my previous guests, I've learned that some of it is coming from Christianity. It comes from the church. It comes from, the whole thing of we think it's a sin or, masturbation and
Yeah.
don't talk about it and
Yeah.
sex and whatnot.
Purity and the
Yeah.
concept of that and what it looks like. And interestingly enough, purity lands in the laps of women in churches and religious spaces more so than it does on men. And I think that in and of itself is interesting too.
Yeah.
So we definitely get the brunt of the purity complex and what it means to be chaste and pure and save ourselves and do all of these things. And then the men in the church get a different set of instructions
Right.
that they're
Interesting.
just human and they're they fall short of God's grace and
Right. He's
you
a
know
man. He's a man.
right, you're just a man and
Right.
yeah, it's a whole paradigm shift for them. But yeah, no, we can get into all of that. I really learned a lot getting that sex positive Christianity certification,
Yeah.
and I myself am not a Christian, and so being a person that is churched, formally identified as a Christian, and but definitely believe in God, moving through that certification was eye opening for me.
Okay. All right. We're going to get into that. But I think it's fair, to make sure the audience understands that, your practice is it's pleasure inclusive, it's
Yes,
culturally competent, it's
yes,
medically accurate, it's
yes,
orientation inclusive, and it's sexuality education. Did I get that right, girl?
yes,
I told
yes.
you, girl. Look,
You
I
got it
told you,
all. Yes,
I
natural representing the natural variant. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. I told you I researched it, y'all. I've been listening to And the other thing about it is you have actually been invited into church spaces to
Mhm.
talk with singles groups. You've spoken
Mhm.
with married couples, all of
Yes.
that. So, tell me all
Yes.
about that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I actually, when the church spaces and faith based spaces, the marriage bed is undefiled. So
Mm-hmm.
I come in and I
Yeah,
talk to married couples about sex and shame and stigma and pleasure and how all those things show up and how we reconcile that with what we feel like our values are, right? What we feel our principles are, and so I talk to married couples. I talk to women separately. I talk to men separately, husbands and wives separately, and then I also talk to the singles ministry. Now, this church, we didn't do it at church, of course. It was an off-site, situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually done accessory parties, toy parties, fun parties for the singles ministry, specifically because when you've been in the world and you've been out there and you've been sexually active and you're trying to, come back to the church or give your life back to Christ, and you want to do things differently, and you realize that being sexually active may be part of the negative, you may have a negative connotation.
Right.
So you got to keep that beast at bay, child. You got to get yourself together. So the best way to do that is through self-pleasure, and using accessories and toys to do that is a great thing. Now, we also had to talk about, the covenant and how spilling the seed and how, everyone has thought process around that part of the scripture, and we had to discuss what that really was and unpack that first. But then we went on and dove into the good self-pleasure and what that looks like for single Christians in faith-based communities. So, I really do it all, and I will talk to people about how to reconcile pleasure and their faith-based morals and values, because people think that those things can't exist in the same place at the same time, but they absolutely can.
Okay, good, girl. They're getting ready to reside right now in this space on the Lovers
Yes.
Lounge. Okay. But now, because I know there are probably people who are listening that, oh gosh, are clutching their pearls, when we really get into this conversation. But I want to share, how this connects, with people having difficulty in being sex positive and talking about pleasure and also being a Christian. So, you know, what is that all about? What are the hangups, regarding this? What did you learn?
I learned just around how reframing and learning stuff about Christianity changes in general. Like, so when we talk about spilling the seed and people hear that and they go into anti-masturbation part of the Bible. Well, actually, that's the spilling of the seed was not. It wasn't the issue because he spilled the seed. The issue was that he broke his covenant to provide a child for his dead brother's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then, if your husband dies, if your husband has any living brothers, you have to have children with them to continue the lineage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he pulled out. He had sex for pleasure and pulled out,
right,
instead of honoring his covenant to provide a child. So that's just like things like that. Reframing, God is a God of love, right? God created the body. God created the clitoris. God created the genitals. So God created pleasure.
Right.
And if God created pleasure, how can it be a dirty word?
Right. Okay.
He gave us. He didn't give us the spirit of fear. If He gave us autonomy, He gave us goodwill. He gave us free will. Then consenting adults participating in sexual activities that are, no consent is being violated. Excuse me. What that looks like and how that shows up for us, as well as fornication. Fornication. The Hebrew translation of fornication is sexually immoral.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean sex outside of marriage. It means sex immoral sex. So what does that look like? How do we define what immoral sex is? Who decided that fornication now means sex outside of marriage as opposed to rape, incest, things like that?
Right.
So it was mind blowing for me.
Yeah. Immoral. Sex immoral. Can you get into that a little bit more? Can you kind of explain that a little more, please?
Well, sexual immorality, immorality would be something that is, the opposite of being moral. So, a violation of some sort, or so immoral would be what we would consider immoral. And of course, the concept of immorality is subjective, right? So long ago when that was decided that sex outside of marriage was immoral, then it was conflated with the word fornication. But when I think of sexual immorality, I think of rape or incest or some sort of violation of person, where consent is not included. You know what I'm saying? Like, where these people, this is being forced onto someone. That to me is immoral. So if it's two consenting people, then how can it be immoral? If no one's, everyone is aware of what's happening and everyone is on board, then is it immoral? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay. And so there's obviously, people who have been, conditioned then. They've listened to the scripture about the seed and they've listened to all of these things all of their life. They've grown up maybe hearing it or understanding it, from their parents and whatnot. So they're
Mhm.
cautious about, being honest about sex or how they're feeling and not feeling.
Right.
And so why do you think this is? It kind of goes back to relearning. Do they have to kind of relearn, I guess where I'm getting
Yes,
at.
you have to unlearn and then relearn because you're taught um, that sex is not something for people that are other than married folk, right? But it's like you don't get taught anything about it until you get married. Then you're just supposed to know everything. It just dawns on you with this new ring or whatever, and then suddenly
Mhm.
you become this sexual person. And so I think we do a disservice to our communities when we make those two things separate.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of shame around pleasure because it feels good, and we want to characterize sin as things that feel good that aren't good for you. So it's not a short, it's not a big leap to then jump to sex because it feels so good it must be wrong.
Ah, okay. All
And I
right.
think that's what we do with this. That's where the disservice begins.
Right, 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 right. Okay, well, now that we've gotten all of that information out of the way, we're going to get to some of the what feels good.
mm,
And so, Goody, let's first talk about intimacy before we get into the pleasure and all of that.
hmm
Because intimacy is before we even get to the bedroom. Am I correct?
Correct. Yes, intimacy is what happens when you're not having sex.
Yeah.
So the way you feel about yourself, your body, your pleasure, the way you feel about your partners or people that you may experience sexual pleasure with, all of that is intimacy. It's closeness. It's familiarity. It's trust. It's security. It's communication. It's all of the things that come together to make sex better.
Mm-hmm.
You can have sex without it, but it's better with
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, it is. All right.
it.
Okay. And so then we're going to move into, because you make a distinction between sexual and sensual.
Yes.
So, girl, Goody, break it down.
So I think there's a very big distinction between sensuality and sexuality.
Okay.
So sensuality is experiencing non-sexual pleasure through all five of your senses. So sight, taste, touch, sound, and smell. And it's something like if it's a beautiful day, you're outside, the sun on your shoulders, a good breeze across your skin. You give someone a hug and the embrace feels good, but then they smell amazing as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of the different ways sensually that pleasure shows up in non sexual ways. And then when you live your life more sensually, when it's time to get sexual, you will experience sex through all five of your senses. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine the layers of pleasure that come with experiencing sex visually and audibly and, with your mouth and your senses of smell and sound. It's just, I mean, touch is a big part of sex,
Mm-hmm.
but hearing your partner's moan of satisfaction when you do something they like, or feeling them hold their breath and tighten up their body posture, or the firmness of their body against the softness of yours, or what have you, like those things enhance a sexual experience.
Mm-hmm. All right. Girl, all right. Okay. See, I told y'all. Listeners. Now we heading on up the hill. Now we about to get to the climax.
Mhm.
Okay. So Goody, you're very well known, for the
Mhm.
lick class, and we're gonna tell them about it. I know everybody like lick.
Mhm.
What's she finna say? The lick class and the
Mhm.
lip service classes. But
Mhm.
before we go into those classes, um, I want to talk about what a student can expect to gain after having experienced those classes.
Okay, those classes specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that all my students that take lick or lip service, they're gonna walk away with a new knowledge of pleasure and how to access it,
Mm-hmm.
like a new understanding of that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
when you embrace it differently, it shows up different for you. They're gonna have maybe some understanding of orgasms and types of orgasms that they didn't know before. They're definitely going to have some anatomy information and things like that. But we go over the anatomy of the mouth, hand, throat, penis, vulva, clitoris, how to add toys to your performance, the understanding that oral sex is performance art in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that just allows people to embrace it more holistically and more sensually. Um, We talk about toys. We talk about edibles. We talk about friendly positions, oral sex friendly positions, and how to get into those. And just really how to experience it. But also, I say that if you have not reached an orgasm from providing oral sex, right? If you have not reached an orgasm from performing oral sex, your life is incomplete. And so both classes talk about how to connect your pleasure to providing pleasure to your partner.
Okay. Now I got to have you unpack what you just said, right? But it's all right. We're gonna go to that, then you haven't lived. We're gonna talk about that statement, what you just said. But
Yes,
before we
yes.
do, I want to break down and make sure the audience understands what the lick class is and the lip service. Because you said what they're gonna walk away with, but now lick is for the man or somebody who is going to perform cunnilingus. Is that basically it?
No, so okay, so lick
Did I get it
is
mixed
oral
up?
sex.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you got them backwards. So
Okay, go ahead.
lick is oral sex on a penis,
Okay, right.
and lip service is oral sex on a vulva.
Okay, see, I done turned it around. But okay, I wanted to make sure
Yeah,
we were
because the vulva
clear.
has lips.
Okay,
Yeah, the
that's it.
vulva has lips.
Lip service. That's a lip for that and lick for that. Okay, good, good. So
Yeah.
so people know, because I have actually heard some people's responses to the class. And I'll just say that, there were some ladies that although they were a bit uncomfortable, but they let their pearls go. And they were like, girl, I need to, let me look a little closer, because there's something I need to learn
Yes.
here. And they were glad
Yes.
that they took your class.
Yes. I've even had I did Goody Palooza in August or in July, where I did them back to back to back, right? A whole weekend I did 5 workshops. And so I did lick, and then the next day I was doing lip service. And I had some of the women in lick make their husbands sign up for lip service.
Okay.
Because they were like, listen, you're not going to be the only one to get this lesson. If she can teach me how to do this on you, I'm sure, she going to have some stuff for you too, player. So I'm going to need you to sign up for this class.
Sit right down. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, when the guys, just tell me, when they're taking your class on the lip service, right? Do you have guys to be like, how's she going to tell me how to do, do you have
All the time.
Yeah. And so what do
All
you
the
say to
time.
this? Like, because there might be somebody out there that's listening right now, like, she gonna teach me how to do this. Yeah. And so
Listen.
I want you to go and tell them, good. Go on, girl, go on.
Well, so, I mean, people assume that I'm straight because I'm married to a man and I have, children and a family life. I'm a whole mom out here. But I am very much a pansexual woman, meaning that I am attracted to all sexes and all genders. So I have actually had sex with women.
Okay.
So, and women love me. Like, I think that there's something to be said to having a confidence in your energy. And so I definitely know what I'm talking about. I have references for male and female partners. So it's definitely something that I am well versed in. But I think having the body parts help with teaching about the body parts and teaching about what that pleasure looks like, and teaching how to make that pleasure show up. And so I get all the time from men and women. Oh, I don't need that, honey. I know how to do. I don't need that. All right. Well, I assume you know your way around a dick, or you know your way around a vulva before you get to me.
Right.
Okay. I'm adding to existing talent.
I see.
Okay. So I mean, that's like when you learn a line dance, you learn it the regular way.
Right.
And then when you get it down pat, you start adding your little spins and pops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My workshops are the spins and pops. The little razzle dazzle. You see what I'm saying? I'm adding the spins and pops.
The spins and the pops. Yes, I get it. All right. So I want to go to this comment that you made earlier about the pleasure comment. And if you haven't had pleasure as a result, if you haven't had an orgasm, basically, as a result of pleasuring your partner, then you haven't, what'd you say?
Yeah, your life is incomplete. You haven't lived.
You haven't lived. So why don't you break this down? Because that always makes people like scratch their head, because they're just like, huh?
Oh yeah. So like, okay, from a female perspective, from a woman performing sex on a man, right, giving head or whatever. And I say giving head is both ways, but people think that they have to do it, not that they get to do it, right? And so that reframe of, this is not something I have to do, this is something I get to do, already gives you a different perspective when you're performing.
I see.
And if you think about it as performance, you got to put on a show. You got to give the people what they want. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we talk about ways to stimulate yourself and add your pleasure to your partner's pleasure by adding toys and things like that. So you can be stimulated and receiving pleasure while you're providing pleasure. And it just kind of creates this operant conditioning where you have this sort of Pavlovian response to providing pleasure for your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we don't think we're going to talk about, psychosocial behaviors and theories when we're talking about blowjobs, but, it's real life, right? So if you start to stimulate yourself while you're giving your partner head, then then you start to feed into their passions and you're loving it, so they're loving it. And you guys, it just creates this kind of circle of pleasure where you're giving pleasure, you're receiving pleasure. And if you reach orgasm while performing oral sex, it's a completely different sensation for your partner too.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. But we're gonna go back.
so,
Go ahead.
but any like the moans and the vibrations and like all of that goes through their genitals when you're coming. So it's just like you're providing layers of pleasure on top of what you were already doing with your mouth and lips, right? Your tongue and lips and things like that. Before all of that, once you start orgasming and you still have your partner in your mouth, it becomes a whole nother exercise in control and in pleasure and in response because they get the moans, they get the exhales, they get the passion that comes out of that explosion between their legs from your mouth. Like, are you serious? Like, it's an enthusiasm that you cannot fake.
All right. So that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to go back to. Is the enthusiasm,
Mm,
because if you just basically what I hear you saying is that if you just sit there and you do this, you in your body language and everything else is saying, I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do this. Come on now.
right.
But you're saying that it's enthusiasm. You need to come with this enthusiasm to the table. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Before you
Yes.
even do anything, you need to be like, they should know that you're enthusiastic about this before you even get started.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Because you don't want nobody on you that don't want to be there. You know they don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you want to do that to your partner and make them feel like they're making you do something that you don't want to do? That's not sexy. They're
Right.
going to find somebody that's enthusiastic about it if you're not. Please no.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Please no.
Now that's the truth. And so,
You know,
mhm.
oh
And
no, I was just going to say, it's just enthusiasm is the sexiest thing you can bring to the table in any sexual session or expression of sexual love. It's going to be enthusiasm because you're excited about that partner. You've chosen them. They've chosen you. Y'all are going to get it in. Like, why wouldn't you be excited about that?
okay. So while you're doing this, or you're, I'm just gonna say, just for the sake of right now, the man is doing this to his woman.
Uh huh.
You have talked about having a song in your mind. You've talked
Yeah.
about putting your whole body into this.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you break that down? Because I can just imagine someone doing this and they're just doing it, but they ain't really into it like the way you talking about being into it.
Right.
So
Right. So
tell these men
the
about this thing now. Hmm.
so getting a song. So I call it rocking the headphones or rocking the mic. So if you're rocking the mic, you're performing sex on the penis, oral sex on the penis. If you're rocking the headphones, you're performing oral sex on the vulva, and the thighs are the headphones. Okay, because that's how you know you in the right spot. If their thighs are on either side of your ears, then
Okay.
you are in the right position.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So rocking the mic and rocking the headphones is like you get this song in your head, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a sexy song. It just needs to be a song that makes you feel powerful, that makes you feel amazing, and makes you feel beautiful. Men too, because men are beautiful too.
Yeah.
You should feel stunning, like you are that dude. Like whatever song, when you get dressed and you know you look good, the song that you hear in your head, then that's the song you need to be performing oral sex to. And so you get it. You're in the song. You're between your partner's legs, and you're performing to the song. So you move to the rhythm of the song. You're dancing. You're using your entire body, and you're using the leverage of your body rolls or your dancing or whatever. You're also using that leverage to give pressure behind whatever you're doing with your mouth. Okay. So then you have that going. So you suck and dick with your whole body, or you eat pussy with your whole body. You got the breathing. You got the motion. You got the rhythm. You have a steady rhythm going. Then you can moan some of the melodies of the song into your partner's body. Then you can hum some of the words into your partner's body and just kind of You know, because you're not even thinking, oh, I need to grab the thighs and cup to this and do. You're not thinking about the tiny pieces that go into this performance. Now you just own, honey. You on stage and you are performing. And when you have a song in your mind that makes you feel powerful, because sex is an exchange of power. When you have a song in your head that makes you feel powerful, you're giving the most powerful performance you can at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Okay.
confidence comes with that too, because that song makes you feel powerful and confident. And confidence is the sexiest thing you can do. It's the sexiest thing you can be. So it just kind of layers in and it makes you feel good. So then you're experiencing this internal pleasure as well as this external pleasure if you're stimulating yourself while you're providing pleasure to your partner. So it's just like a whole pleasure palooza, right? Like it's just everywhere around you. And all you're doing is just being a conduit of it to your partner.
Wow. Okay, girl. I hope that they are listening. I really do, because you are spitting some knowledge right now. I told you all she's smart. She's got it going on. She knows a lot. She knows a lot. Okay,
Well,
so
thank you.
yeah. So speaking of knowing a lot, I wonder if the audience knows that there are 15, I think, types of orgasms. Am I
At
right?
least 15.
At
At
least
least
15.
15.
So
Yeah.
I want you to go into it. Let's talk about it. Let's
Okay.
break
Let's
it down, because I know somebody may be driving, or they may be, sitting at home, and they say, "Did she say 15? Well, I've been missing out." Okay, so
Yes.
let's break this down. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can get them off the top of my head. Let's
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
And also, I want to state that the orgasms are these. When we think of orgasm, I think a lot of times we automatically think of women. Um, these are orgasms that anybody can experience.
Right, exactly. Hmm.
There are at least 8 orgasms that male body people can experience. Just at least 8. Um, so let's see. So we have the vaginal orgasm, clitoral orgasm, A spot, U spot, G spot, P spot, frenulum orgasm, a pelvic orgasm, nipple orgasm, oral orgasm, erogenous zone, breathgasm,
Urethra.
skingasm, birthgasm,
Hmm.
cervical orgasm. That's 15. I'm missing a few.
I thought there was something with the urethra.
Yeah, that's the U spot.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so people, like, I get the most common questions I get from women is that, I've never had a vaginal orgasm. I'm 30 some years old. I'm 40 some years old. I've never had a vaginal orgasm. Am I normal? Is there something wrong with me? And I want to let you guys, a blended orgasm. That's another one. I just want to take time to say that you are not abnormal. There's nothing wrong with you. A vaginal orgasm does not just solely happen from penetration. Okay.
Hmm.
It is the perfect storm of the rhythm and the stroke and the firmness and the pressure and the angle and all of these things coming together to help you get a vaginal orgasm, because even a vaginal orgasm is associated with a clitoral orgasm. So you can't just get it from going in and out, like penetration in and out. That it's a lot of things working together, and so it's a lot less common than people think. We watch too much TV and media has misled us, but just know that a vaginal orgasm is not, it's not as common as people think, but there's nothing wrong with you if you have not achieved one. And there's a workshop for that too. So I got
All right.
y'all.
Okay. Okay. So, can you just, you had mentioned some A, D, E, some of these
Uh-huh.
alphabets that probably people just had not heard. So, can you just
Right.
go back the alphabet ones and make sure we're clear?
Okay. So the A spot, U spot, P spot, G spot. A spot is the anterior fornix, which is inside the vaginal canal at the beginning of the cervix. It's at the interior, so the beginning of the cervix. And it's a spot where if you are having sex, if you've been having sex and you just get this emotional rush over you, where you want to tell this person you love them, or you start crying, or any of those things, that is an A spot orgasm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
U spot orgasm is a circle of nerves around the urethra,
Right, right, right.
on a vulva, around the urethra. And so it's very similar to when you really have to pee real, real bad and you finally get to go in the restroom and pee and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
my gosh. Yes.
It's like that, but in a sexual way.
Mm-hmm.
And you also, I would venture to say that you experience some type of G spot orgasm when you have a squirting G spot orgasm.
Hmm.
I would go as far as to say that
Okay.
G spot orgasm is the squirting orgasm. and that is the Greffenberg spot, which is inside the vaginal canal and up about 2 inches. But what we know now is that the G spot is also an interior access to the clitoris.
Right. I heard you mention
So
that on another interview.
yeah, the
Yeah.
clitoris is a whole organ by itself, and it's the only organ whose only job is pleasure. And so it's more than just that little nub that we see in the vulva. It actually goes up into the hips and straddles the vaginal canal. So the G spot is where the clitoris straddles the vaginal canal. And so that squirting orgasm, I get asked a lot about, it can every woman squirt and all of this. So I will say that every woman that was assigned female at birth has the potential to squirt.
Now,
But it's just, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's also a question usually where they're like, is this pee?
Right,
That kind of thing. I
right.
just want you to.
No, oh yeah, I can answer all of that. Okay, so every woman that was assigned female at birth has the potential to squirt. But it's just like a 6-pack, right? We all have 6-pack muscles, but we don't all have 6-packs, right? It takes effort. It takes concentration. And so you have to nurture the abdominal muscles before they become 6-packs. And you have to nurture your body before you're able to squirt. So connecting to that pleasure, when you're having sex that you enjoy, keyword enjoy, when you're having sex that you enjoy and you feel like you have to pee, it's not pee. It's physiologically impossible for an aroused human to urinate without excruciating pain.
Right.
And that's whether you're dealing with incontinence or anything like that. For example, a male erection or a penis erection, the erection that they pee with and the erection they have sex with are two different kinds of erections. And it's the same for a vulva. The clitoral erection that we get when we have to pee versus the clitoral erection we get when it's time to have sex are two different things. And so the urethra cuts off as part of the sexual response. The urethra cuts off to the urine. So it's not pee if you're enjoying the sex.
Okay.
Now, if you're not enjoying the sex, it might be pee because you're not really aroused. Okay, so don't let that go.
Right,
it might be pee. And it feels like pee because it's the same part of the body. It's the same. It's coming out of the same hole. But people with penises can come and pee from the same hole. So why can't we?
And the important thing, I think, from this G-spot squirting orgasm is that you need to be relaxed, right? You need to be relaxed enough to be able to do this. So, and I mean, that
you need to be real.
Yeah.
It says a lot about your partner, too, because first of all, your orgasm is your responsibility. Do not put that on your partner. That is your responsibility. But you have to be engaged in the pleasure. You have to be relaxed. You have to be aroused, right? So sometimes sex is performative. We don't want to be there. We're doing it because we feel like we're supposed to. If you're not engaged in the sex that you're having, you're not going to be able to relax and squirt. If you're not, we focus so much on the orgasm, and that's the destination, right? That's the destination of sex. But we don't experience the pleasure because we're so focused on the destination. And so the pleasure is the journey, and the orgasm is the destination.
Right.
So like when you go on a road trip or something, it's like if it's a boring road trip and you're not being entertained, then it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Right? But if you have you guys got songs and snacks and everybody's having a good time, it's like the destination just pops up. Oh, we here already?
Right.
So focus on the journey and enjoy the pleasure, and that orgasm will just pop up on you instead of trying to pursue the orgasm in your sexual sessions, right? So if we are talking about from a squirting perspective, connect to the pleasure, connect to your partner, relax your body, and enjoy. Sometimes we're having sex with people that we don't necessarily feel like we can relax around all the way, and then you're not going to be able to squirt with them.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Now, speaking of the journey and pleasure and relaxing and enjoying, you have some sex toys that you sell. You talked about it a little bit earlier, and I want to talk about those.
Okay.
So this is where our imagination is going to have to come in. We're going to be very descriptive, as I said earlier. Listeners, please put your imagination glasses on and let's listen to what Goody has to say about these products. Now, there's one in particular, Tootsie, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell about Tootsie. Yeah.
Okay, so I love Tootsie because she's very versatile. So Tootsie is basically, she's a cylinder, a clear, soft, jelly tube. And she has the same texture as the vaginal canal. So she's ribbed and she has this amazing texture on the inside. and on the outside she has lips, so they look like vulva lips. Um, and the way you use Tootsie is you lube her up, you put lube on the inside, and then you put lube on a penis. You slide Tootsie over the head of the penis, and then you just kind of stroke her like you would normally stroke the penis. You use your hands, and you just kind of stroke her. And I market Tootsie as a helper for oral sex.
Mm-hmm.
So if your partner is bigger or longer or larger than what you're used to, you can just slide Tootsie down and you can be squeezing and gripping and stroking the penis with Tootsie. And then you only have to work on the part of the penis that Tootsie does not touch.
Which
So
actually
y'all
is
are
a very,
working
yeah,
together.
which actually is a pretty sensitive part. You'd be dealing with the tip then,
Yeah,
and
the most
then
important part.
Tootsie would be down below. Okay.
Right, because the shaft of the penis often gets neglected, but this way Tootsie is keeping that part together and you're keeping the head together. And I love Tootsie because she also swallows. So if you are gripping that penis through that Tootsie sleeve, right, and you're
Mm-hmm.
holding on to it and you're manipulating it, once you feel that penis start to jump, that big vein at the bottom of the penis starts to thump, you're going to pull Tootsie up and twist. And that creates this amazing suction over the head of the penis. And it feels like someone is sucking out the orgasm and swallowing it.
What you say?
It's just not you.
Men don't have an accident. I hope nobody's driving. They've just heard this and they're very disturbed. And they really want to stay on so they can hear how they get their hands on Tootsie. So, yeah,
Right.
y'all don't have an accident. But it really, I've seen her use it. And I've seen it. And so, yeah. So now let's talk about a toy for the woman.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um. So my new favorite thing that I have that's for vulvas right now is just a real simple finger bullet. And the reason I like the finger bullet is it's a wireless bullet and it has a jelly sleeve over it with textured nubs and a little finger loop on the back, so you can just slide your finger onto the bullet, and it'll hold onto your finger, so you don't have to try to juggle the sex toy and yourself, right? And so I really like the finger bullet because you can use it. It's small, it's cute, it helps you connect to your pleasure. It doesn't really get in the way. It's not big and invasive in that way, but I love it because it fits in the palm of your hand.
Hmm.
And if you're just now starting to explore yourself, you don't want to, bring in something big and penis shaped and vibrating. You want something that's not intimidating.
Right.
And I think because it just fits in the palm of the hand so perfectly, it gives us a way to connect to our pleasure and explore ourselves with just less between us and whatever we're using.
Hmm.
And then also it does translate to, you can use it for when you're performing oral sex on a penis. You can be stroking the penis with the bullet in your hand
Hmm.
on your finger, and you're not juggling penis and bullet, and it just gives this amazing vibration sensation to the person whose dick you're stroking. So it's a really good versatile sex toy.
Hmm.
But I think especially for people that are beginning, I think when we talk about self pleasure and masturbation, we think, oh well, if I'm married or if I have a partner, I don't need no toys. I don't need to masturbate. But in real life, when you masturbate, it connects you to your pleasure. You learn what you like,
Hmm.
and then you can communicate that to your partners, and that makes you a better lover, right? You can tell the difference between having a sexual partner that doesn't masturbate and a partner that does,
Okay. All
because
right.
they just show up different. You know what I'm saying? So
And
if
yeah.
you haven't explored yourself and you're not masturbating, and I know sometimes we think masturbation should include penetration, and we say, "Oh, I'm not doing that." You don't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings. Get to know your clitoris, get to know your vulva,
Hmm.
and just once you get to that point, there's so much confidence that comes with the fact of you can make yourself come.
Right. Okay.
There's confidence that comes with that. So just you walk different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think a bullet is a great starter.
Okay. Now, then you also have something like some pearls or something. I've seen
Oh
some
yeah,
pearl.
the
Yeah.
pearl stroker.
Yeah. Like a sleeve that has some
Uh
pearls, it's like a little bracelet.
yeah.
It looked like a
And so
bracelet.
it does. It looks like a bunch of bracelets strung together.
Hmm.
It's a pearl stroker, and the it's like a stretchy bracelet. So it has this stretchy stuff that strings the pearls together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the stretchy stuff is like this industrial strength, man made, like it's designed for this specific use. So don't go to the dollar store trying to get some stretchy bracelets and you think you're gonna wrap them around somebody's penis, honey, because there's gonna be beads everywhere.
Right.
Um, but when we talk about sensual versus sexual, this is a very much sensory play toy. So you put lube on it and you slide it down the penis and you can just stroke the penis with it in your hand. And because it's those pearl beads, they just roll up and down the penis. And so it gives you a firmness next to the firmness of the penis is a different kind of firmness. And it just like adds textural pleasure, to your sexual play. And like I said, when you experience sex sensually, it just takes it to another level.
All right. Now we're gonna go to the ladies. I've seen you with a little thing. It's kind of like a rabbit, maybe, with a little something. What am I thinking of?
The come hither vibe?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, okay. So the come hither vibe, it's so beautiful. It's a very sleek, pinkish purplish toy, and it's a G spot stimulator. So it has 2 points coming off of it, and the long prong is to be inserted into the body, and it has this like textured space at the top that's supposed to rest right against the G spot, and it has a spinning wheel inside that stimulates and does that little come hither finger motion.
Uh huh.
And so it stimulates with that come hither finger motion, and then it also has this amazing rabbit shaped clitoral stimulator. So you're stimulating your clit on the outside and on the inside, and it just gives you this amazing rush, and it helps you recognize the sensation of a sporting orgasm. It helps you recognize sensations of other types of orgasms, and it just helps you connect to your pleasure. And it's really good because it's not necessarily penis shaped. So it's something that you can use with a partner and they won't be intimidated because it's not actually shaped like a penis. And it's just a really great body safe silicone. It's a really good accessory because you can use it and be sure that you're not, harming yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But those textured nubs and that little wheel spinning against the G spot, it's a very rhythmic motion, and it just kind of incorporates again that rhythm that we're always talking about that you need to
The
have, that
performance
you
thing.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, that performance, and you connect your breathing to it and all of these different things, and it just adds such a layer, such a layer to the pleasure.
All right. Goody girl. You good. You good. All right. Now, so how can the listening audience reach out to you? How can they reach out to you? How can they hear more from you? They've got to go on that website. They've got to take those classes, right? And rideology. Tell them about rideology and what they can walk away with rideology.
Okay, so Rideology is my partner on Top Workshop, and I'm very much inclusive. I represent natural variants. So when you get the Rideology workshop, you're going to get um, low impact positions that you can use when you're on top. So it's going to help you climb on top with confidence, control, and stamina. Because a lot of times when we get on top, we can't last that long. We're not up there a very long time. Our knees hurt, our back hurt, whatever. Or you don't feel confident because you don't know what you look like to your partner, or you don't know what to do with your hands, right? You just like you're not really aware of how to move your body when you're on top. So you'll gain that control. And this partner on top, I say that because it's good for if you are climbing on top with your vulva, if you're stroking your partner with your vulva, if you're stroking them with your anus, or if you're rubbing two vulvas together. These positions work for all three different kinds of sex. And I think it's important that, we know that women have anal sex too. So there's not just, men that are interested in that. So I really want to make it to where it's comfortable for people.
Okay.
So when you walk away from that, you will definitely walk away with comfortable positions that you can get in on top to, get more pleasure for you and your partner that are not going to hurt your knees and your back.
All right. Okay. And then so now how can we take these classes? Like we got to get the website. We need to understand where we can get the toys, all that.
All the things, right? Well, my name is Goody, and everybody asks me all kinds of things. So I'm Ask Goody everywhere. AskGoody. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, all of it. I'm Ask Goody everywhere. My email address is askgoody@gmail.com, and my website is askgoody.com.
All right. Well, Goody girl, thanks so much for coming on the Lovers Lounge podcast. I know that there are a lot of happy people out there right now that are very intrigued. They are going to go on your website and they are going to see about taking those classes, and they might even call you to have you talk to their church or something, honey. They just gonna definitely call you. Trust me.
Well, just know, if people come from, if your Love Lounge, if the Love Lounge listeners come to Ask Goody and they support in any way, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of them as well. So if you go to the website and you buy products, you can use Love Lounge to get 10% off of anything, any product.
Wow.
And if you want to buy a ticket to a replay or something like that, you can use Love Lounge 5 for $5 off.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much again, Goody, for coming on. And Goody's motto is be good or be
Or
good
be
at it.
good at it.
Thank you so much, listeners, for listening to the Lovers Lounge podcast, where we talk to experts like Goody and other folks that talk about love, relationships, and sex. I'm your host, Tina Love. And until next time, peace. And of course, don't you forget, love.